this one last time. Okay, so the following is a bunch of videos I've shot in the last couple weeks. We started noticing these weird V-shaped things flying through the sky at about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and started to take video of them, and this is what we got. The first video, I basically just set the tripod down, faced it toward the sky, and let it roll for about 7 minutes. Occasionally you'll see the camera kind of change angle really fast. That's just me changing the angle of the tripod. It looks really awkward because it's in 1 frame a second, so it just happens really quickly. So all these things you see flying through the screen, this isn't like a 3-hour video. This was just basically 7 minutes for all these things to fly across the screen. So, and the reason for that, why everything looks so fast, is because I had to set the frame rate down to about 1 frame a second so that you can actually see the stars and see the sky for that matter. And that's why it looks so blurry and it looks kind of like it's like a time lapse. This next video is just a basically time lapse of the camera pointed at the sky for about 20 minutes or so. You can see planes, satellites, stars, but you can also see these blurs that just whiz by really quickly, and I think those are pretty much the same crafts or whatever it was that we were seeing previous nights. These aren't too impressive, but I've got some more clear video here in a minute. So after experimenting with that a while and trying to get a little bit more clear picture, I finally set it to 6 frames a second and started to get some pretty clear pictures of what was going on. So at first I thought maybe these were just like some type of new drone that like a military was testing out, because there are a few Air Force bases that are southwest of here. But when we brought the video in and cropped it so we could get a closer look of what was going on, they're actually not just a single craft at all, but several of these small orb type things that will move in and out of a different formation all simultaneously, almost like a school of fish. They'll move at the exact same time, kind of like a long string, and then they'll go back to almost like a V shape. And you know, it almost looks like they move like a flock of birds, but they're just way too fast to be birds, and birds don't have lights on them. They all kind of vary in speed. We've seen some dart across the sky, and some of them can be pretty slow sometimes too. So another thing too that I'll mention is that even though these look quite bright on video, it's because, like I said, I had adjusted my camera so that we can get more light. And typically when you see these things with your naked eye, you kind of have to see them with your peripheral vision, just because they're much dimmer than your standard plain lights. So typically they do come from the south to the north. It's almost more like southwest to northeast. And although we have seen some come from the west to the east, there has only been one time that I've seen anything come from the east to the west, and that was, I wish I had it on camera, but that was like the most bizarre thing I think I've ever seen before, where this bright orb, almost like a meteor, shot across the sky all the way from the east horizon to the west horizon. And normally you'd think that would just be like a shooting star or something, but because we're up in the mountains, you can see almost all the way to Nevada. So you have a huge sense of distance in the horizon. And this thing shot across in probably like 20 seconds and did not stop. It kind of like wavered up and down a little bit, just kind of like you were skipping a stone in the water. So it wasn't a straight line per se, but so that was a little weird. Anyway, I don't think that was the same thing though as what these that I have on video are. So if anyone has any opinions about what they think this is, let me know. My email is at the end of this video. Other than that, if you live in Ogden, take a look up in the sky sometime. You can usually see these at about 9:45 to 10. depending on if it's dark enough. If you can see the stars, you can typically see these, but like I said, keep in mind they're not going to be as bright as what your normal planes would be. So, cheers.